Hello, I'm Scott Abbey with Rent Fax. I'm here to talk about our Rent Fax RISC Report. I'm here with my partner Shane Sauer, and we're going to discuss various aspects of the report. My background is in property management. I've managed thousands of doors over the years, over 20, and I have seen just about everything that can be seen in property management. We're going to discuss why we produced Rent Fax, how it was put together, and its application of how it can help you and those that you assist in the purchase and management of investment property. Shane?
Yeah, my name is Shane Sauer, co-founder of Rent Fax along with Scott, and my background is as an investor and currently as a lender. Just as with Scott, I have decades of experience in the industry, and Scott and I came together to create Rent Fax through a common need we saw in the marketplace. And I think Scott can elaborate well on what that need is. It's a need across the marketplace, but Scott, if you could tell us a little bit about what your personal experience was and what drove and gave you the fire to create this product.
Yeah, Shane, I'll tell you, having customers purchase investment properly only to be disappointed because of an outcome that was predictable. I saw train wreck after train wreck of people purchasing property, and a lot of these were from out of the area, based on an assumption that all locations are equal, and they are not. What I learned in the management of my properties is that there are demographic indicators that will help us drive whether a property has a positive or negative outcome. And using this index, it's predictive in a way of providing the kind of information you need to make the best possible investment, and also in how you manage the property. So why don't you tell them how we came up with the index?
Well, with my background in engineering and analytics, it's no doubt that what Scott had discovered is that there's demographic data can glean light and show you a way, in a way of like a road sign of how a rental property will perform. So when we crossed paths, Scott really harnessed my drive for digging into numbers, and what we ultimately did is sat down and poured through hundreds and thousands of data points that we knew influenced rental properties, and through a decade refined that down to what you're seeing now is a single index number. So how it was created was a broad sweep of data that we knew influenced rental properties. We then used a lot of analytics. We teamed up with some of the nation's leading data providers and their PhD teams and went through rigorous cross-country due diligence trips to provide you the algorithm, or what we call our secret sauce, called the RISC Index today.
And, you know, this index is extremely accurate for my practice and for others. You'll notice that there's two numbers here. There's a MSA number, which represents the metro area, and what we're doing here with this spectrum is providing a scale from 0 to 100. And this particular property, the subject property, scores a 43 out of 100 relative to all properties in all neighborhoods in this particular metro area. You'll note there's a USA number, and what this is doing is looking at every neighborhood in the United States and giving you a comparative number of the stability and the probability of sustainable income stream based on demographic factors that we know have influenced this.
Scott, let me help our readers and listeners of a good comparison. Think of our RISC Index as the credit score for rental property. So a credit score is a score that is assigned to a borrower that is predicting that borrower's likelihood of repaying a debt. So this credit score is made up of your prior payment history, it's made up of your current debt obligations, and all these financial factors. And it uses predictive analytics to then produce this single number of which creditors and banks and lenders use to make decisions when they're conducting business with you as the borrower. We use the exact same concept, which in the big data world is called predictive analytics, except we selected data points that we knew influenced rental properties. We honed and refined, and we put those all together to create this single score. So whether you call it the credit score for rental property, we just renamed it to the RISC Index, which stands for Rental Income Stability Composite Index.
And with this index, it's very valuable if you're looking at property to invest in, and if you are considering a transaction where this risk index starts to move out of the green and into the yellow. As you move towards the red, your antenna needs to go higher and higher, and you've got to build a greater and greater case for the things that are going on that would cause instability if you get into lower scores. And I can assure you that the time and the additional energy you spend on doing due diligence as you get into these lower scores will save you many, many thousands of dollars as the investment matures. So it can be a very useful tool in both understanding the risks associated with address demographics, but it's also a great tool for how you manage and what techniques and strategies that you employ.
So our goal behind the RISC Index wasn't to solve the world's problem as it relates to a real estate investor. What we were trying to do is give a simple, affordable, and accessible tool that can lead you in the right direction, whether you be a lender, property manager, or investor. So our existing clients and users today use the RISC Index to guide that decisioning on what their next steps should be. And that's how the RISC Summary Report can help you as a user regardless of how you touch rental investment property. So we hope you found this short video helpful and a good explanation of the RISC Index. I can tell you that this hallmark product is included in nearly every report and package we provide. For more information and more details about these reports and packages, you can go to www.rentfaxpro.com and seek additional content and videos.